at Gaisa Inn, for those 6 months that I'll be there, it is going to be very necessary to spend at least 6 months on defining CCSR. Because if I was to begin talking about some of the reasons for failure, if I was just to name one of them here, people will go away with the wrong impression of my country. And I don't want that because the negative thing that I would name would actually be seen as the one thing that characterizes the entire situation, the entire problem. But whatever negativity I may say has reasons, it has roots. There are reasons for the things that you might name. One of my friends, Jam Kaunda, posted on Facebook Malawi for sale or country for sale, and he put a list of different factors that are against us as a country, and that is from one perspective. And of course, I welcome that as a perspective. What I have to remember is that we are 80 million people, and there are other perspectives. So many dynamics come into play here, and inner dynamics within the different departments. So if we're going to be talking about the government, if you're going to be talking about the opposition, if you're going to be talking about the civil society, even within the civil society, if you're going to be talking about people who are in the civil society, not because they're dedicated to civil society objectives, but because it's a step towards another agenda or another, just an ambition. There is so much within organizations and within people. And so, without naming any of the characteristics that play against our potential trajectory, um, it's crazy because even here in Denmark, there is I have a Malawian friend, and she has a Danish friend who studied Malawi and did a very good, I think it was a master's on development in Malawi, and I have been begging the girl for the thesis, like, please let me have a look at it so that I can respond to it, because then half my work is done. But within academia, that is like hot property. So it serves a different purpose within academia than the purpose which I would need it for. Like, okay, this is the information that we need for us to come up with solutions that we can implement for our people. So the idea of having an argument for why a country is not succeeding and making a career or money out of that argument takes priority to actually solving the problems of the country. That is something which I have to accommodate and say, okay, that's how it is. When you create CCSR, you take in all dynamics. There is no negative dynamic when you do CCSR, when you do socioeconomic strategy. Every dynamic is simply just a dynamic, and you take it for what it is. So I am reluctant to name the things that actually cause cooperatives not to work in Malawi in a short video like this. What I am willing to do is to spend a lot of time analyzing in great detail each one of those points. And that is why we're going to Gaesa Inn, to spend time and going back to get hold of all of my dad's reports and all of the needed reports on Malawi and Africa as a whole. But just to one of the things you could say, there's a difference in success rates across Africa. If you compared Malawi to Kenya, for example, cooperatives in Kenya would be way more successful than in Malawi. And that is simply because Kenya was a colony to the British, like a proper colony, while Malawi and Zambia were protectorates, which means that there was already factored in a date for when the British would leave the country. That's at some point the people would be brought for self-rule, would be brought up for self-rule. Whereas in Zimbabwe and South Africa and Kenya, for example, the settlers had come to stay, which means that, and Mozambique, which means that the people had realized that there's no freedom without an armed struggle, which means that the people, then the premise for armed struggle is cooperation, you know, organization, and cells that have a main objective. So you had that one objective, which was to, hey, we need to fight for our freedom. So that has laid a foundation for cooperating, and therefore cooperatives in Kenya. Kenya is an amazing Kenya is an amazing achiever on all levels. You know, if we could bring Kenyans to spend time in Malawi, they would reorganize the country, and we should actually